Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Destiny Hero deck profile. So I'm really excited this week guys, because this deck has been getting some amazing support recently, even getting one of the most powerful boss monsters ever printed in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Into this archetype in the form of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name in the description of a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to our Patreon along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing a single copy of Destiny Hero Plasma, which is still one of the craziest boss monsters in the entire game. You have to summon this card to your side of the field by special summoning it and attributing 3 monsters on your side of the field. You can also target a monster on your opponent's side of the field and equip it to this card as a equip card. When you do that, it actually gains attack equal to half of the monster's attack, which can get really big, and this card has the ability that's a walking skill drain when it's on your side of the field for your opponent only. This card is a great boss monster for the deck, and it's basically a relinquish and skill drain tied into one. We then play a single copy of Destiny Hero Dreadmaster. Dreadmaster is a card that I've just recently put into the deck, and I really like it as a great one-of in the deck. It has a really neat effect that basically, if this card was special summoned by the effect of a Clock Tower Prison, then you destroy all monsters you control except for Destiny Hero monsters. Then you can special summon up to 2 Destiny Hero monsters from your graveyard, which is kind of a neat effect, but you're never going to actually destroy this card with Clock Tower Prison because we don't use that effect. I just wanted to point out to you guys that this card says if this card is special summoned by Clock Tower Prison. Now the other effect is this, during the turn this card is special summoned, Destiny Hero monsters you control cannot be destroyed, and you take no battle damage when they are involved in a battle, and the attack events of this card is equal to the combined original attack of all Destiny Hero monsters you control except this card, which is a great effect just to give you a really big beat stick on your side of the field because it gains the attack of all the other Destiny Hero monsters that you control. We then play 2 copies of Destiny Hero Malicious. This card is a great card in the deck. You banish it from the graveyard to special summon another Destiny Hero Malicious from the deck. And you can actually roll this card over and over and over again with some of the cards in the deck, which is why you play this card as a 2-up. I really would love to see it go back to 3, but for right now we're just playing 2. We then play a single copy of Destiny Hero Dynatag. This card is a very neat 1-up because during damage calculation in either player's turn, when you would take battle damage, you can discard this card to make the damage you take 0 from that battle, and if you do, each player takes 1,000 points damage, and you manage this card from the graveyard to target Destiny Hero monster you control, and it gains 1,000 attack, which combos very well with some of our monsters in the extra deck. We then play 2 copies of Destiny Hero Drill Dark. If this card is normal summon or special summon, you can special summon a Destiny Hero monster from your hand with attack less than or equal to this card, which is 1,600, and then it also has the ability that this card attacks a defense solution monster, you can inflict piercing damage. We play a single copy of Draw Hand. Draw Hand is if this card is special summoned by a effect of a hero monster. You make each player draw a card, and then during the next standby phase, after this card was sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from the graveyard, but banish when it leaves the field, which is pretty good, just to give you that extra draw. 1 copy of Celestial. Celestial can banish itself from the graveyard to let you draw 2 cards, while you have no cards in your hand, which is a really good effect. But you have to banish this card and a Destiny Hero monster from the graveyard, which is not that big of a deal because we play a lot of Destiny Heroes in this deck. We then play a single copy of Destiny Hero Denier. You just need 1 copy of this card, but it works really well with our copies of Malicious because you can roll the Malicious over and over again with this card. Because if this card is normal summon, you can take a Destiny Hero monster from your deck or graveyard or that's banished and place it on top of the deck. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. That if you have a Destiny Hero monster on the field or in the graveyard other than Destiny Hero Denier, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only use the effect of this card once per turn. This card is an insanely good card to combo with your copies of Malicious. I then play a single copy of Destiny Hero Dreamer. Dreamer is a good 1-of. I just like 1 of it because during damage calculation, if your Destiny Hero monster battles and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card and make that monster unable to be destroyed by battle. And if you do, you take no battle damage from battles involving it, that battle that is involving that card, and if summoned this way, banish it when it leaves the field, which is a pretty good effect to be able to just give you an additional Destiny Hero monster on your side of the field, which is why I love this card as a 1-of in here, as a good tech 1-of. We then play a single copy of Disc Commander. Disc Commander is a once per duel. If this card is summoned from the graveyard, you get to draw 2 cards, which is pretty good just to give you an additional draw. I have considered dropping it from the build, but I'm liking it as a 1-of currently. We then play 3 copies of Vision Hero Vion. Vision Hero Vion lets us on summon. You get to send a hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, and you can also banish a hero from the graveyard to be able to add a polymerization from deck to hand, which is pretty good for this deck. Play a single copy of Shadow Mist, being the only elemental hero we play in the deck, that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a hero monster from your deck to your hand, so it combos very well with our Vision Hero Vion, which is why I play this card as a 1-of. I play a single attack card in this deck, which is a single copy of Double Disruptor Dragon. This card is a very interesting tech card that I like to play in the deck because it has the ability that you can banish this card from the graveyard to add a rapid trigger from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to add that card from your deck to your hand because it's basically a polymerization when you add it to hand, which is a great effect. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well. Ash Blossom is a really, really good card in this deck because it stops your opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is a great card in this deck just to revive back your Destiny Hero monsters to your side of the field. 1 copy of Foolish Burial so you can get the exact one that you need into the graveyard when you need it. 1 copy of Reinforcements to the Army because just about everything in the deck is a warrior monster. 1 copy of Polymerization. Polymerization is going to let us fusion summon into any of our Destiny Hero monsters we need, especially our copy of Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. A single copy of Rapid Trigger. This card is a really, really good card for the deck because it lets you fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck by destroying fusion materials listed on it from your field, but it can only attack monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, and also it's unaffected by the activated effects of other monsters special summoned from the extra deck, which is a really good effect for this particular deck, especially with cards that can send your copies of your Double Disruptor Dragon to the graveyard to be able to banish it and search this card. Play a single copy of Over Destiny. Over Destiny is a really neat card because it basically lets you target a level 8 Destiny Hero monster on your side of the field, and then you get to special summon a level 4 from the deck, which is basically the effect summed up because the way that it reads, you select a Destiny Hero monster in the grave, and then special summon 1 Destiny Hero monster from your deck whose level is less than or equal to half the selected monsters. And the special summon monster cannot be or is destroyed during the end phase. So basically you select your copy of your, for example, like your Dreadmaster that's level 8, and then you can special summon a level 4 or lower from the deck. We then play 2 copies of D-Force. D-Force is an insanely cool card for this deck because it has the ability that when it's activated, you get to add a Destiny or Plasma from your deck or graveyard to your hand. I love that effect because this card gives it the anime effects that it never got. Because it has the ability that while you control a Destiny or Plasma, you can apply all of these following effects, or you do have to apply all the following effects. You can't draw during your draw phase. Your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects. And then each Destiny or Plasma you control gains 100 attack for each monster in the graveyard, and it can't be destroyed by our opponent's card effects, and also it can make a second attack during each battle phase. So this card is an absolute, like, crazy busted, like, card to boost up your copy of your Plasma even further than it already was crazy busted. We then play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness so we can dig into the deck for the exact cards that we need. We play 3 copies of Destiny Draw. Destiny Draw lets us discard any Destiny hero to the graveyard to be able to draw 2 cards. So you're basically playing 6 draw cards in the deck. 3 copies of Destiny Fusion. Destiny Fusion lets us fusion summon a Destiny hero monster from the extra deck using monsters from our hand or deck as fusion material, but destroy it during the end phase. It also has the ability that you can't special monsters except for Dark Hero monsters for the rest of the turn after this card resolves. This card is one of the craziest fusion spells in the entire game, and I love it as a 3-of in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Mass Change just so we can go into Dark Law. This card is a great 3-of in the deck. You just tag out one of your Dark Hero monsters on your side of the field to summon Dark Law to your side of the field, which is a great effect. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're playing a single trap in the deck, which is a single copy of Break the Destiny. Break the Destiny is a good 1-of to me because it has a really neat effect to let you target a level 8 or higher Destiny hero monster or a Destiny in Dragoons that you control and destroy it. And if you do, your opponent skips their next main phase 1. But you can banish this card from the graveyard to add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Destiny hero monsters in its name or Destiny in Dragoon in its card text, which is the main effect that you're going to be using with this card is to banish it from the graveyard to get that search. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I'm playing just a single copy of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. You can play it at 2 in this deck, but I feel like 1 is totally fine with some of the other cards that we're playing in the deck. I usually only summon it once and keep rolling it over and over again because it has some really neat effects to just avoid being gotten rid of forever. But it's really, really good in this deck because it has the ability that monsters your opponent control lose 200 attack for each hero monster in the graveyard, and you can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn. Then it has the ability once per turn, quick effect, you can destroy both one card on your field and one card on your opponent's field. And if this card is destroyed by battle of a card effect, you can activate the effect to special summon a Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard during the next standby phase of the next turn, which is pretty good. We then play 2 copies of Destiny Hero Dominance. This card is an insanely good boss monster for the deck, and one of my favorite cards in the entire deck, because during your main phase, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck or your opponent's deck and place them back on the top of the deck in any order. And when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to draw a card. And if this card, if Fusion Summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get to shuffle, or you get to target 3 level 9 or lower Destiny Hero monsters with different names in your graveyard and special summon them, which is pretty good just to give you 3 monsters back on the field because it does require 3 Destiny Heroes to Fusion Summon into it. We then played 2 copies of Destiny Hero Dystopia. This is a card that I did consider bumping down to 1 to play the extra copy of Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, but for now, I'm just playing 2 and 1. This card is very neat because it has the ability, when it's special summon, you can target a level 4 or lower Destiny Hero monster in the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that target's attack. And then during either player's turn, if this card's attack is different from its current attack, then you can target a card on the field and destroy it, and if you do, this card becomes its original attack, which is pretty good at a 2800 attack point monster. 1 copy of Destiny Hero Dangerous. This card is pretty good as a 1-of to play in the deck because it has the ability basically as a foolish burial for your Destiny Heroes. 1 copy of Dusktopia. Dusktopia is basically a walking polymerization because it lets you, if this card is fusion summoned, you get to fusion summon a fusion monster extra using materials from your hand or field. And then once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 monster on the field and make it unable to be destroyed by battle or by card effects. And if you do, neither player takes battle damage from attacks involving that card, which is pretty good. We then play 2 copies of Masked Hero Darklaw because it's still a great boss monster for this deck as well. It basically banishes everything that's going to go to your opponent's graveyard, and then if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, they have to banish a card from their hand at random, which is really good. We then play a single copy of Beatrice because you make this card to send your copy of Double Disruptor to the graveyard, and it's very easy to summon this card in this deck. 1 copy of Extra Hero Dread Decimator. This card is a great card to summon in the deck because it gains 100 attack for each hero monster with different names in the graveyard, and if this card attacks, it inflicts piercing damage. 1 copy of Wonder Driver. It works really good with polymerization. 2 copies of Extra Hero Cross Crusader, because Cross Crusader lets you, if it's link summon, target a Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You contribute a Destiny Hero monster to add a hero monster with a different name from your deck to your hand. One of the best hero support cards ever created. And then a single copy of Anaconda to use with our Destiny Fusion. You don't have to play the Anaconda, but it does help out in the deck a lot to be able to play it, so you can go into your copy of Destiny Fusion a little bit easier. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. I love the Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. I love all of the new tech cards that we've got in the deck and all the new support cards because this deck has just gone above and beyond what it was. And being able to play all of the insane potential cards in this deck like Destiny Fusion and your copies of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer is just absolutely crazy cards, especially with D-Force comboed with your Destiny Hero Plasma. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of notifications squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.